yes, I'm live, and yes, this is a video for me. I know it's been a while, but work kind of got in the way, and then Fallout 3 kind of got in the way, and Fable 2 kind of got thrown in the mix with Fallout 3 because I was stupid and got them both at the same time. And yeah, if you've played those two games, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, they're both great, engrossing. Especially Fable 2. I think Fable 2 is a really, really underrated game in my opinion. And a lot of people say it's a great game, and I think it's underrated, calling it great. I would actually put it above Fallout 3, and I'm a big Fallout 3 mark, or big Fallout mark. And definitely, if you have anybody that has watched this has ever actually played the original Fallout games, this is definitely a great game to go along with it. So, and definitely a great game. Great. But Fable 2, very good, very engrossing, lots of stuff to do, just an awesome game, I would say. That said, let's get started with this video and what this video is about. Of course, TNA's Turning Point 08. Now, back when I did the live Impact review, I talked about the fact that if they were going to go in the direction it looked like they were going to, which is what they ended up going to, which is Impact focusing much more on storylines, getting away more from the wrestling to a degree, then the pay-per-views had to deliver. So this is the pay-per-view that they had to deliver on, because it's going to take, to really turn things around, in my opinion, it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. Even though the shows might get better overnight, you're not going to see the rewards from that for at least a couple of months. And it's being able to continually doing that sort of thing, night in, night out, that sort of thing. So there we go. So we opened up the show, and the show opened up with the main event Mafia showing up, looking very mafioso with suits, and most of them had ties on. And I don't think it worked at all, because I think the only one that actually looked good in the suit was Scott Steiner. He looked like what I think they should look like, which is kind of too cool for school type of thing. I didn't like it kind of when when Evolution was all in suits and looking proper and all that. I didn't think it worked for them either, and I definitely, in my opinion, didn't look right. Not that it was a bad thing, not that it took away from the show at all, but it just didn't look right. I think they definitely could do a better job of that, in my opinion. But actual match we started off with was the X Division scramble match for the #1 contendership with Sanjay Dutt, Eric Young, Jay Lethal, Consequences Creed, P.D. Williams, Jimmy Rave, Homicide, Doug Williams, Tanahashi, and Valador Jr. With this much talent, it was hard for this not to be good. They gave it time too. They almost gave it 20 minutes, which was really good to see. But unfortunately, I don't know. There was structure issues, is all I could say. I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but there was just some, I would say sloppiness, but just some things that were just like, what's going on? It was very easy to get confused in this match, even though I've never really got confused, but it was just easy to say, okay, what's going on now? And you shouldn't have to do that. It should be structured a little bit better. Usually when I do a Ring of Honor show, and they do their scramble matches, I always say, this is what TNA should do with the X Division. This is what they did, and it was good. Could have been great if I think the guys worked with each other. I think it was probably guys just not being able to work with each other as good as what probably they could have. But and this could have been great, and because they gave it time, they had the talent in there. Just for whatever reason, it just didn't work. But I definitely, if this is what they're gonna do, thumbs up for that. Great stuff. 3 1/4 stars. Some people probably really liked this. I just felt it was a little too sloppy and a little too for my taste. But definitely the right time. This is what I want to see more of, in my opinion. Okay. After that, we got the Knockouts tag match, which I was looking kind of forward to, because you had 3 women that are good and 1 in Tyler Wilde, which is okay. And this was an okay match. This was, they gave it about 10 minutes. Not as good as I thought it would be. I really thought this would be, a really good match, and it was still good. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, and it was enjoyable. 2.5 stars. I will say this about this match. I really think this match probably should have been on Impact, and maybe a title match should have been on the pay-per-view. That would be my only complaint, and that's a very minor, little, tiny, gripey complaint. Next we have Bashir versus Rhino, which is in a match I know probably not everyone was looking forward to, and rightfully so. This was not that great. It was okay at best, and then for whatever reason, Scott Hall and Insane Clown Posse showed up. I don't know why, don't know for what reason. It was strange, it was odd, and didn't really work, and took away from the match completely. 1.5 for that. I don't know if it was planned or what, and if it wasn't planned, then TNA should have done a better job of not letting the guys in or whatever. Then we got they went backstage. Foley was discussing, the issues in the business and all of that about the main event Mafia, and then you had the Motor City Machine Guns who were up next, who were ignoring him, and there was a whole big argument thing, making it look like the Motor City Machine Guns, as a lot of people have kind of wondered, are going to turn and they're going to join the main event Mafia, which I think would be stupid, because this is one of the teams that the fans have been behind for a long time. They've waited for them to get their shot. It looks like they're finally going to get their shot, and you turn them heel. Where you have Beer Money, who are already heels, and you could put in the main event Mafia, and it would make perfect sense, and wouldn't be a swerve just for a swerve, which to me is what they're doing with the Motor City Machine Guns. It looks like they're wanting to throw them in just as a swerve that people see coming, but still as a swerve, which to me is very NWO-ish, which I don't want to see the NWO. I never liked the NWO that much when it was going on, outside when it first started, so I'm not too big on that. But we got the TNA World Tag Team Title match versus Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money. This was a good, solid match. This probably should have been a lot better, and I would point to this match as, there was an argument I once had with a guy that used to work for TNA, doesn't work for TNA anymore, who said that you could put Motor City Machine Guns in 20 minutes with anybody on the TNA roster, and they'd be able to put on a 4-star great match. This is proof that was not the case. This was a good match, but it lacked something. What it lacked, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you, but watching it, I was like, wow, they're doing lots of cool moves, but I'm just not feeling it for whatever reason. It felt very underwhelming for whatever reason, and I think part of that is the fans just were not into this as much as you would think, or at least it just didn't seem that way to me. And the fact that I think part of that is because the Motor City Machine Guns have, they've been kind of jobbers the whole time. That this seemed more like an Impact match, title match, than it did a pay-per-view title match. But anyways, just kind of the way I saw it. I was just trying to figure out of what just didn't seem right about this match. I mean, there was something there, and I couldn't see, because I'd be watching it, I'd be like, oh, that was nice, and then it would dawn on me, man, I should really be into this match more. What's going on? Couldn't figure it out. But 3.5 stars, still a good match, but you would expect better. But I think, and part of it probably was the fact that they did the whole Abyss and Matt Morgan thing before, so. The Impact before, so you had that. Next we had TNA Legends title match, Booker T versus Christian Cage. This was very, this was a match I was looking forward to, and this was again, underwhelming is the term I would use. They had an okay match, and that's about all I could say about it. It was okay, and I thought this would be a lot better. I thought this had a chance to be a show stealer, and it was just okay. For whatever reason, that's all I really got to say about it. The wrestling was just kind of there, and there you go. Next we had Kurt Angle versus Abyss, a match I was not looking forward to, and was great. This was really good. They went out there and they killed each other basically, and it worked, and it was spotty, and you basically got your Abyss, falls count anywhere, him bumping his ass off, and Kurt Angle bumping his ass off too, to an extent, and it worked, and it was a great match, and definitely a match to see. And I wouldn't say you probably need to go out of your way to see, but if you like a match like this with lots of table spots and sort of thing, and plunder to a degree. Though the plunder wasn't overused, it wasn't plunderish, but you know, they were going through walls and off tables and all sorts of stuff. So, but again, they gave us a lot of time. They gave us about 20 minutes, which was nice to see. 4 stars, great match. Next we had Kevin Nash versus Samoa Joe, a match I was not looking forward to for obvious reasons, but this was almost good except up to the finish. They told a pretty good story. It was sloppy because you had Kevin Nash in there, but I think they told a good story. I think they went out there and Joe busted his ass off, and he powerbombed Joe, I think twice, rammed Joe into a naked turnbuckle 2 or 3 times until Joe finally started bleeding. Finally, Nash won through a messed up screwjob finish, which hurt the match in my opinion. Still 2 3/4, which is far better than I think anyone thought this would be. So hats off to them for that. And then we got the main event, Sting versus AJ Styles. This was about what I expected. I thought maybe this would be the match of the night, to be honest, but not quite there. AJ was only able to do so much, and the ending of this match really hurt it, with Sting going over in again, kind of a messed up screwjob finish. There was lots of messed up kind of screwy-job finishes on this card, with the Main Event Mafia basically winning every match, which I'm not a big fan of. I wasn't even a big... With the Horsemen, it was kind of different because the Horsemen were so hated. It kind of made sense. I never liked it with the NWO. I never liked it with DX. I never liked it with... I don't know if DX ever did it, but I never liked it. But if they did it, I never liked it when they did it. Never liked it when Evolution did it. I've never liked it when stables completely dominate, a pay-per-view. I've just never done it, particularly when it's not needed. Sometimes it's needed. This just didn't feel like it was needed. Maybe it'll get them over more as heels. I don't see that happening myself until they do something truly heelish. And, they've done a few truly heelish things, but they still haven't done a lot of truly heelish things. And that means Sting has to do something truly heelish, which is something he really hasn't done yet. But overall, I actually really, really like this pay-per-view. I think if you look at the star ratings itself, it really doesn't tell the story. This was actually, I think, overall a pretty solid pay-per-view. Not anything you'll get excited over, but I definitely think worth the money checking out. I think it was entertaining. I definitely think, as a whole, it was better than the parts. So as a whole, it was better than kind of each individual part, which is not something you usually see on a WWE or TNA pay-per-view at all. But this was definitely one of those, and I'm probably going to go a little higher than most people probably think, but I'm going to give this an 8. I am going to give this a slight recommendation at an 8. But definitely, if this is where TNA's going, my hats is off to them, because I think as far as the storylines went, even with these kind of screwy jobby finishes, I still think it worked. As it was kind of an underwhelming show, but I definitely think that this was definitely a match. It definitely carried the storylines over a little bit more. If they can have the faces kind of save face on Impact, it'll be a lot better. And I know that's kind of grading the pay-per-view on something that might or may not happen later, but I definitely think this was a good showing. And in my opinion, it wasn't overbooked. Even the screw job finishes, they weren't overbooked screw job finishes. They were done in the right kind of way. I think there's a right and wrong way. I always kind of say that. I always say, WWE knows how to do it the right way. I think most of the screw job finishes on this pay-per-view were done the right way, even though they were goofed up. And I'm not willing to be hard on them for that, because I would much rather them at least try to do it the right way than keep doing it the way they have been doing it. So there you go. That's it. I'm out. Send your hate, send your love, whichever it may be, later.